Welcome to Loving God and Loving Life. We're in Luke chapter 2, where the theme is the familiar version of the Christmas story. Jesus is circumcised. Simeon and Anna prophesy of his mission. And then the one and only verse that we find about Jesus' life from his birth to his ministry at 30 years of age. At 12 years of age, Jesus is at his Father's business. So here we have, when it says that the familiar version, Luke's version of the Christmas story, they all give, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, they give slightly little different details of it. Same story, but they're giving different details of it. Well, Luke gives the most detail. It's the story you're going to hear the most often. You're going to find out here about the manger and these details that you're so familiar with. But gang, the story, well, let's just read the first verse here. At that time, the Roman Emperor Augustus decreed that a census should be taken throughout the entire Roman Empire. We just start right there. This is the census, by the way, that ends up landing Joseph and Mary in Bethlehem for Christ to be born. But gang, let's just be honest. This is a leader issuing a decree that you got to go and travel in order to pay your taxes. Now, we probably don't like paying taxes to begin with, but let's just say that the next president issued a decree that you have to travel at your own expense. You have to take a trip to Washington, D.C. in order to deposit your taxes this year. Do you think you'd complain a little bit? Dang, the whole world is complaining. I mean, everybody's complaining. What is my point? That is just so true. Things that God is doing for a cause, for a purpose. Okay, this whole thing is a setup. It had been prophesied that Jesus would be born in Bethlehem. The whole thing is a setup. And while the whole world is complaining, God is at work. And gang, these stories land in just the guts of our life every day. I promise you're going to find out on Judgment Day that there were a lot of things that you complained about. I'm going to find out there were things I complained about that were part of a plan. How much better to see it and just by faith start rejoicing. Just saying, God, I don't get it. Man, this feels like an expensive trip that I don't want to do. This feels hard. Okay, how about when they got there? We know the story. There's no room for them, so they have to give birth in a barn. Do you think, maybe some men might think, that'd be okay, it's cheap. No, there's nothing cool about this. But I promise you, there's not one woman listening to this that says, that would be fine with me. Just, give birth in a barn. Sounds like a sterile environment. No. Once again, we get it. Things that we're prone to, we'd be tempted to complain about. Let's not do it. Let's just not do it. Let's start accepting by faith that God has a plan for events that we may not have ordered in just that way, and start having enough faith to just trust God and rejoice. Whatever's on our plate, whatever that expensive trip is that we'd rather not take, that fixing that car, whatever that thing is, trust God, rejoice, and watch God work things out. Gang, He's guiding our steps. He's probably not guiding your steps to Jerusalem. He's probably guiding your step to somebody, to a coworker, to a friend, a family member that needs the love of God today. That's why we pray that prayer every day. God, today, send me one person today to share your love with. Friends, never forget that doing God's will and loving God, it's the only way to truly end up loving your life.